What is happening? Crossroads podcast number 66.
Damn.
Pick up sticks. Jake
You didn't,
Ryan, my boy,
James the Fountain.
my man. You're not a boy anymore.
Yep. Just turned into a man.
You can grow a beard.
I just shaved my beard. I just trimmed it up.
You did?
Yeah, I kind of wish I did, though.
Manscaped.
Yeah, not a sponsor
Dude,
yet.
I need to hit up the Manscaped sponsor. Seriously do.
Yep.
I'm gonna sell it out, bro.
You didn't
I'm
say
not
all
ashamed.
right.
I know, because you said last time, you're like, you always start with all right.
No, I like it. I wasn't dogging on you.
I was all right. All right.
right.
Welcome to another Crossroads podcast. I know I
Yeah,
was
dude.
self-conscious.
No, I was saying we should make shirts and shit. Like,
All right. Yeah.
it's your catchphrase.
Yeah, true that. I like the backdrop you got going on now.
Yep.
I'm waiting for like a lady to throw her clothes over top and come walking out and like lingerie.
Yeah. For sure.
This would be a real popular podcast then.
Yeah. Who knows, man?
Hopefully.
Never know who's gonna pop out. Dude,
Yeah,
sometimes I get tripped out because there's this little like attic, like a portal, whatever you call it.
Oh, crawl space?
Yeah.
Are you on the top floor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, I don't know what's up there. And you know those stories of like people living in people's attics for years and they don't even know, like
Dude, no, I've never heard a story like that.
Really?
No.
Yeah, dude, like they'll only come down when the people are sleeping or at work and shit. And
God.
yeah, food will just end up missing and you're like, what is going on? And it's someone living in their fucking attic.
Dude, I was working on a house that was out by the lake, Georgetown Lake, and it was like a big remodel. And so there was a lot of fresh stuff to take care of and then kind of mixing in with the old stuff. But the crawl space to the attic was open and it was just creeping me out. Like when I'd go work and by it, because I just imagine creepy stuff up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Not my cup of tea. I always like to imagine there's like a big suitcase full of money.
And you're just like scared to look up there.
Too scared. I won't look up there.
Mr. Beast living up there just waiting for you to
Yeah, the actual Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
But in like beast form. He'll be like extremely hairy with fangs and red eyes.
Dude. Yeah. So you said you had
Speaking of beast, bro, dude, I was attacked by a beast.
What?
Yeah, dude. I was working a remodel job, like one that I hadn't been to yet. Like the homies were there working on this basement water damage job.
Yep.
And it was a job that like we didn't even want to take on. It was a contractor we'd worked for pretty often that hit us up about somebody's place that they were trying to get done. And we're like, dude, we're too busy. We just can't make it. We don't even want to do it, you know, because it's like a little water damage remodel. And so it's like 8 a.m, you know, gonna go take care of this real quick before getting to our main job. And I show up there and I'm about to knock. First of all, I see a sign on the gate that's like, beware of German Shepherd, guard dog. I'm like, oh God, well, so far I've heard they haven't been there. And I'm like, they're aware that we're coming by. So their guard dog is going to be like taken care of and locked up or something.
Right.
So I go to open the screen door to knock on the door. But as I open the screen door, like the kids open the door that were about to walk to like high school or something. So we both open the door at the same time. And the dog just comes running out and attacks my legs.
Dang.
Yeah, dude. You? Yeah.
Jeez.
Both, and luckily it was colder. It was like 55 degrees the other day. And I was like, I'm
Mhm.
wearing pants to work today.
Yeah.
So I put on my jeans and thank God if I was wearing my shorts. So yeah, dude, I get attacked by this dog. The kids are freaking out. Like, run it, get in the house. I'm like, dude, I just get in the house. I'm like, I'm going downstairs, right? I just run downstairs, close the like inside gate. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Jeez.
And the older kid comes down, like, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
And so I kind of do a few things to set up. And then after everybody left, I got to go get some things for my truck. So I'm like fucking scared as shit. Like, oh
Mhm.
man, I got to walk out to my truck again. I'm sure they locked their dog up. And I go out there and check out my legs, and they're just fucking like, there's like blood and bite marks and bruises.
Dang.
So I
Bro.
thankfully I had a big first aid kit in my truck.
Yep.
So I just cleaned it up, wrapped it in some bandages, and I was like, I'm good enough to work for the rest of the day. So worked for the rest of the day, got home, and my wife's like, you need to go to the doctor. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm fine. I'm and so eventually I went to the doctor, get like antibiotics
Yep.
and
Dang,
they
bro.
yeah, dude, gnarly. And so they have to report it to like the cops and animal control.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh man, I didn't want to make this a big old issue. I've never been bit by a dog, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
And next day, today, start talking with everybody, and they're like, oh yeah, the issue apparently the dog is a biter and had recently bit somebody else. So they were like all worried, like, oh my, the city might make us put the dog down. And I'm not even like angry at people, although they should have already had that dog locked up before we were coming over.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, it's a dog. Like, I understand, like, protecting its family in the household. Stranger comes over.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want the dog to get put down either, but I'd be mad at the people for sure. Like they already knew that he bit somebody and then they know that people are coming over to remodel and yeah, dude.
Dude,
That's kind of
yeah.
fucked.
And so the contractor, because they're related, the contractor's like, oh my God, let me know how he's doing. We're kind of middlemaning the communication. And I don't even know if it would, of course, I'm like, I should be able to just contact them directly and they should talk to me.
Mhm.
Because I haven't even met the homeowner or nothing, and maybe not because they might get defensive or something. Because
Right.
basically they're like, well, you arrived like a little bit early, and
Mhm.
like I may have arrived like 5 minutes early or something, like not
Right.
really early. So I was pretty irked by the fact that I'm like, you can't fucking make this my fault that your crazy dog like attacked
Oh,
me.
for sure. Yeah.
So I mean,
Oh,
I'm
dang.
all right. It definitely sucks, but here you go, son. But that was my day the other day, and
Yeah,
uh,
dude.
I'm gonna
That's
turn
pretty
into a
messed up.
werewolf now. So
Mhm.
it's full moon tonight.
I mean, you're starting to look like one.
Yeah, dude. I was like,
Slowly.
I don't plan on cutting my hair for a long time
Yeah.
or my beard. Just grow it out. No, I have to trim it up, especially the mustache.
Yeah, I just want I don't know, man, like, I can't really grow it out. Maybe I can, but I just get self-conscious about how, like,
Curly.
puby it looks. Yeah,
Well,
because
there's
some
an
people
ugly stage you have to go through.
yeah, but it's just like yeah, it's just kinda, like, wiry, and it looks good, like, between this stage and kinda where I had it. I cut it a little short,
Mm-hmm.
but, yeah, it's just something that, like, you kinda learn how to takes a while to, like, figure out how you shape it and all that, you know?
I've been working on shaping it when it's big because sometimes it just gets too fuzzy
Wide.
wuzzy. Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I gotta trim it down
Mhm.
because I'm gonna grow big dread on the bottom of it too.
Are you?
Yeah,
Nice.
just long dread and be like, dude, I'm just supposed to dread it out. I don't even smoke weed now.
What so?
I know, but people probably like fucking dreadlock pothead hippie.
For sure.
You know, they're like that guy's on acid right now. I can tell.
Yeah. I mean, you can kinda tell when someone's like ex drug user, you know?
Yeah, dude. I was talking about my mom, or talking to my mom about that. Just how years of using anything can have an effect on you,
Yeah,
and just
for sure.
how when you're using regularly, you're like, don't think about that. You're like, nah, that ain't gonna happen.
Mhm. Well, I was just at the gas station, and I'm pretty sure that, like, for sure, the chick who was, clerk or whatever was,
Hmm.
like, an ex-meth head.
Oh
I
yeah,
say ex because she seemed like, with it and all that, but for sure, you could just tell. It's a look.
I definitely seen some the other day grocery shopping and today grocery shopping because they like hopefully they're ex users, but you can. I'm always like, damn, your skin. I can just tell
Yeah,
they
in the
get that
teeth.
like yeah, the dry, pale. Like it's like a gray skin,
Mhm.
just dehydrated.
Yeah,
I'm like,
for sure.
dude, whoa, man, you do not look healthy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, dude. Um, I mean, I feel like, dude, when I was 'cause we were just talking about, me starting the podcast,
yeah,
and
dummy head podcast.
yeah, dude.
Them people
Like,
be dummy heads out there.
speaking of dummy head, dude, like, I feel like, well, I was going through and editing it, and, like, those jump cuts, all you're doing is editing out, like, the silences, and I'm like,
Uh-huh,
"Dude,
or the
I fuck."
ums like you were saying.
Yeah, dude, and I'm like, I sound so stupid, like,
You're just
just
self-conscious.
well, it's that, but it's also when I'm like I'm doing it right now, like, when I'm thinking of something and I'm, like, kinda coming up with it as I'm talking,
Mhm,
it's not the same as when you have something that's, like, super clear in your head that you wanna talk about, you know? So, if you're just, like, coming up with shit on the spot and you're kinda figuring it out as you go,
mhm.
um, it's a lot of those, and just silences and, like, even one sentence will be, like, just way too long. I'm like, "Fucking spit it out."
It didn't, like, sound bad at all to me. I think the only things I noticed was, like, you're saying, like, ums, you know? You'd say,
Mhm.
like, often, but I think everybody kinda does that, and we eventually are able to stop saying those, like, repetitive words.
For sure.
Like people say, like, I was, like, going to the store and, like, I seen this person that, like, looked like they
Mhm.
liked no, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And, I think that or the one I always try to catch myself from doing is, like, cuss words,
Mhm.
because sometimes I'll hear, like, myself do it all the time, or, like, the other day, I was listening to Tom McDonald on a podcast,
Yeah.
which we've talked about him. I used to be kind of a fan of Tom McDonald, like, there's a few songs I did like that weren't controversial songs.
Right.
They were, like, real life emotion songs.
Mhm.
But I just get over the whole controversial political jargon, but when I heard him on the podcast, I was just like, "Dude, there's so many F-bombs that I'm like, it's just, like, hard to even pay attention to what you're saying."
They're just filler words. Like,
Mhm.
same with, and, and, like, all that is just filler. So, if you cannot say those words, even if there are spaces in between what you're saying, like, there's nothing wrong with speaking slow, you know? Like, Obama talks like that, and I feel like
Mm,
for me, the reason why I get kind of self-conscious about it, and I was actually talking about this on my podcast,
mhm,
is because people will use that, they will take advantage of that to interrupt you, you know? And for me, sometimes the way I talk is a little bit slower, and people they'll do that. They'll interrupt me. And like in the past, I would just, if I'm talking to somebody and they interrupt me, I would just kind of like, I'd be like, all right, whatever. I'm not even gonna talk then. Like if that's how it's gonna be, you just want to interrupt me when before I'm even get to my point, you know.
right.
And so in the past, that's what I would do. I would just kind of shut up. But um you just kind of you just got to steamroll through it basically, because if
Mm,
if you let people interrupt you, they're just going to keep interrupting you. But if you are in the middle of a sentence and someone's interrupting you, what you're supposed to do is just finish your sentence, and eventually they'll stop interrupting you so much.
yeah, dude, it's you kinda get into a flow state eventually, especially when you're doing, like, the solo podcast, or I kinda will.
Hmm.
I don't ever
Yeah.
really listen back. I
Hmm.
I don't know why, because I would get really self-conscious. So
Yeah.
and I'm like, "God, I sound so stupid. Why did I say that?"
For sure.
But, yeah, when I was doing my testing for ADHD, um, there was, like, cognitive testing and some other tests, or answering questionnaires, and that was one of them. Was, "Do you find yourself interrupting often?"
Hmm.
And I do sometimes, like, not always, but
Hmm.
especially with podcasting, I'll find myself, like, I'll interrupt you, or I'll interrupt people on the phone,
Hmm.
and I'm like, "Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to interrupt you." Like, what I'll do is I'll make it about me sometimes, like, we'll be talking about you,
Hmm.
or like I'm talking to my mom today, and then I'll shift the topic to me, and I'm like, so I'm working on my, like, selfishness and
Well,
giving
that's.
people space to, like, share
Hmm.
themselves.
Yeah, man. Like, and this is actually something that I was talking about on the podcast for quite a bit, and just being aware of it, like even with the ums and those filler words, just being aware of it. Like every time you do do that in conversation, you'll notice it, and eventually you'll stop doing it as much. Some people
Do?
aren't aware. Yeah.
Yeah, I always gotta point that out.
Yeah, that's a good interruption.
You caught yourself too. You're like, I'm about to say it."
But yeah, like at work, um it's really bad with, and I think I brought this up before, how like, people say that how guys or men will mansplain to women,
Mhm.
but they also do it to younger men, because I get it all the time at work.
What is
And
mansplaining?
it's just it's just a man over explaining something to a woman
Mm.
because they think they're stupid.
Oh, alright, being the alpha, or
Yeah, and it like, if I was explaining something to you, or just in this mansplaining scenario, um I'll just explain it and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you kind of understand a little bit already.
mhm.
But say I'm explaining it to a woman, it's in like a condescending way and you over explain, like, and I get that a lot, like at work and stuff. Like just the other day, I mean, it happens every single day, but just the other day, dude was telling me about, working your way up in the company. And he was just going off and off and off about it. And I'm like, okay, dude, I understand the concept of like working your way up. It's not, you know, but
Right.
it happens a lot.
I feel
But with
like working your way up is a pretty simple concept that everybody kinda would understand, where it's just like,
yeah,
you do harder work, better work, maybe faster, you learn more.
you get to a higher position, you do good, and then you get to another higher position. Like, yeah, it's,
Yeah,
but
or
he
you
was just, he was,
understand what the guy above you is doing more,
hmm
and then you start
it's
doing that. I don't
a
know.
tale as old as time.
Yeah, but, like you say, that superiority, like, having a superiority complex, like, I've had that at times, that I have to control,
Hmm.
and but that's something I've learned to deal with better with like the group, support groups, and just kind of my whole like um, rehabilitation stuff, like becoming a better person.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah. So it was kind of we were talking before the podcast about how like I was doing the intro to the podcast and I just did a bunch of different takes
mm-hmm,
and instead of just kind of going off the cuff like I did with the first one. And like you said, like once you kind of get into that flow, you're not really sitting there trying to think of what to talk about, just like in a normal conversation.
mm-hmm,
But I that was part of the reason was because when I went to create it in like Apple Podcasts and stuff, it asked for like a category
mm-hmm.
and I chose self-improvement for whatever reason.
I do like that. I think it's a great
I think it's cool because like
nucleus or center thing to revolve around as well.
mhm, yeah, and like I'm really into that stuff and I'm not like really into any of like the cheesy stuff. Like I feel like my radar for like the guru kind of like, you know, snake, what is it? Snake oil. Oh wait,
Snake
what's
oil
the say?
salesman? Yeah. Snake oil sales and
Yeah, I
stuff.
was
Yeah.
trying to think of the word.
Or just
Um,
the one I seen today was LARP. No, is that what they're called? Like those businessmen that will be like, I'm gonna sell you a success in my investments. They'll be dressed in like a suit, nice watch, perfect haircut, and they'll be like, just join my group or get my master class.
yeah, yeah, like
It's like bullshit.
yeah, it's pretty easy to spot that. And so like the stuff that I am into, I feel like is really good. But then when I go and try to like talk about it, unless it's something that I like just I talk about organically, it just feels so weird. So like when I was trying to do the intro to the podcast, I was, I had a couple things that I wanted to talk about that I feel like is real important, but it just wasn't coming out right and all that. But
Mm.
um yeah, like I feel like if I did find a way to talk about it that was just normal, you know, and could also be like funny and just, it doesn't have to necessarily be just about that. But yeah, I was just totally overthinking it and um
Well, I've cut so many. I've deleted before I did the Crossroads podcast, I had the Totally Rad cast,
mhm,
and I did like a number of those and then deleted all those because I was also going through a kind of an angry point in my life where I was complaining a lot.
right.
And I had to kind of work through that. And that was before I started therapy and maybe before I started the bipolar medication and stuff like that. So I was kind of working out at the kinks.
Mhm,
And then I think I started a few just kind of by myself. But like you were saying, I would kind of find a topic. That's what I'm trying to do more with the solo ones is like for example, I think you would do good with one that's stuff like I think what helps is like telling a story of like your experiences with alcohol and being like, yo,
mhm,
this is the good, the bad, and the ugly, and things like why I've decided to make changes. Because that's a self improvement thing. And it's not like you're telling people what to do or necessarily how to do things, but just your experiences.
for sure.
Um, and
Yeah,
then I've thought that's a good one from you because I mean, we've talked about it a bit on here, but I would like to hear a podcast because you could probably talk for a whole hour just about your experiences in life with alcohol.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and even just like the just general self-improvement, or I like the word personal development
Mhm.
be- because I picked up this book today. The subtle art of not giving a fuck. I just read the
What?
first few
That's not
pages.
what it says. It says the subtle art of not giving a hashtag at
Right,
percentage exclamation point.
right. But the book is full of cussing, like,
And
he
maybe it
cusses a
said
lot.
shit. You don't know.
No, he says it in the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I guess he could have said hoot. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe he could have put shit on the cover.
I guess you could, but it was probably, like, just a marketing thing, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
'Cause yeah, inside the book is full of it, but when it's on the cover, it's like sell less copies or something.
And it probably is more attractive to the eye, like seeing all the
Mhm. Right. Um, but yeah, in it, it kinda talks about, like, just not trying so hard, you know, to be better and just kind of, like, accepting yourself,
Mhm.
and I think that's important, and personal development, I think, kinda has more of that vibe because, you know, like, that's what it is, it's just, like, you're developing through life, no matter what, you know, good or bad.
Well, that is like the kind of Buddhist philosophy, I believe, is the thanks, son. Is the finding that contentness within yourself or accepting who you are. Like it's
Mhm,
interesting. I was telling my mom today how nowadays I am more comfortable with saying things like I'm Christian, you
mhm,
know, but I still have beliefs in like Buddhist philosophies and and even other religions and spiritual outlooks on life because
yep,
I looked into all those for personal development or, to understand what God or the higher power universe is and our relationship with that and basically how to become a better person
mhm.
because, you know, that's all I would go to self-help um parts of the bookstores most often.
Yeah, man, like, I've just always been into that stuff too, and just for, like, in my family, you know, like, my immediate family,
Mhm.
nobody is really, like, into that shit, and
Hmm.
I don't know why I really.
Understanding so here I go interrupting,
No, you're good, I mean,
but just understanding it helps you understand yourself or just how people are our psychology is. But what are you saying?
I mean, yeah, I was just like, I don't know why I really ever got into that stuff. Um, it's just something that I've been into just because like I want, I just want like when you live a certain way for so long, you're like, I could just keep doing that, or I could do something else. Like I just kind of want to experience other things. And that's really it. It's not about being better necessarily. I mean it is in a way, because like.
Well, yeah, improving on life and I have also had to come to the understanding or just accepting. I was talking to my mom about this too of kind of being like quote unquote damaged goods or whatever, because 'cause I'd always be like, "I don't have anxiety, I don't have depression, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm not an addict,
Mhm.
I'm not any of these things, I don't have any of these bad traits or defects, character defects, stuff like that." So, I think everybody has those good and bad, little characteristics
For
we
sure.
can improve on, and
Yeah.
sometimes they're just like we might not have been raised in the most peaceful environment. I don't know who could be.
Some people are. I think that is a big part of that is like for me, I see other people and I can just tell. I'm like, you were raised in a good household. Like, like your
Mm,
parents are probably still together and you didn't witness any like crime or drug activity
yeah,
and
and
you were like
that's where
socialized.
resentment would come for me too.
Mhm.
I would resent people that had that's what I talked to my therapist about, like people that did good or their family was wealthy or responsible or made the right choices. or even when, like, yeah, just stuff like that, like, "Oh, you had it good,"
Mhm.
or whatever, yeah, and
I mean, for me, I don't know if it'd be so much resentment, but maybe a little jealousy, like,
yeah, you're right
'cause
on the money there.
yeah, like, I wouldn't wish that on anybody to be like, like, "Oh, your childhood should have been more fucked up," because you only get one childhood, and that really, like, it has so much impact on like, you could just, like, be kinda fucked up in all these different ways and not even know why, like, because it's really not your fault, it's just, like, you might have went through some shit, and you don't even remember it necessarily, but it just
Mhm.
shapes, like, how you think and how you react to situations and stuff, and so, I
Well,
think
one
that's
of
the most
the
important thing you could do is just, you know, raise your kids right.
I definitely work on that, and I'll even get that stuff in my TikTok feed, or I'll read about it and research it, but
Yep.
it, again, that's why I got sober, because I was like, "Dude, I just don't want them I can't raise them like, becoming like my father or whatever," but what was interesting talking to my mom today and saying things like, "Oh, I was always so caught up with other things, and you're always so good, and I didn't have to worry about you. You could do your own thing. I didn't have to worry about you." And,
Mhm.
because kind of when I was looking back on life and the stuff with the ADHD, where it's like I would just, even in school, I would just, and this is another thing I even got from TikTok, where they're talking about how we learn to disassociate.
Right.
And they're saying, like, if you're not getting all this, like, attention from your, like, parents and stuff like that, that as kids we look to them for just attention or nurturing or answer our questions
Mhm.
or whatever. And if they're busy taking care of other things or whatever, that, because for me, I was like, I'll just I'd rather just be in my own room. Like, if people are fighting
Right.
and if there's chaos out there, I'll just hide in my own little place, draw, play video games.
Yep.
And it seems like a healthy thing, but they're like, that's probably one of the worst things, is when your child gets silent,
Mhm.
because, and then they're say how it develops like narcissism. And because instead of looking for, you go so inward.
Yeah.
So it just develops these weird traits of being so inward and enveloped in your own self.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people aren't really aware of is that you can be a narcissist and still be, like, super self-critical and not necessarily, like who you are. Like, being a
Hmm.
narcissist doesn't mean you think you're the shit, it just means that you're only focused on yourself, like you're saying, like, just, um I think about that a lot, like, just because being self-conscious is being narcissist in a way, like,
Hmm.
you really think you're so important that everyone is thinking about you like
Oh,
that.
bro, this is another good one. I bet you could do a podcast on just this. I want to do a podcast on this topic. And we've talked about it before. And the reason I want to bring it up is because I seen this TikTok the other day that just really got me going. And I love
Mhm,
going down the rabbit hole with different conspiracy theories or the simulation or whatever. But
mhm.
basically, it centers around uh, main character syndrome.
Yeah, yep,
And I'll tell you this little story of the TikTok real quick, and we can chat a bit about it. Because I think it does go into the whole self improvement as well. Is so this guy on his woke TikTok, being like, I'm awake, when I woke up to the fact that I'm the main character and all these other people are NPCs
right.
in the simulation.
Mhm,
And then I'm like, oh God, I gotta, because I'm like, this guy's going off. And of course, it makes me think, because I've been at that point, especially when I was strung out on alcohol and psychedelics, where I felt like the main character. I felt like I was in a simulation,
Yeah.
and that it was all created for me. That I plugged into the matrix, and it's all about me. I'm the only one that exists, and everybody else is a figment of my imagination.
Yep.
And so I'm like, I know what it's like to think that way, but I know what it's like to come back to reality and be like,
Yeah.
no, people are real. People have feelings. I have a mom and dad. I have friends.
Yep.
And so I go to the comments, right? Because I'm like, I always got to check the comments, see what people have to say.
Right.
And before I let you know what they said, can you guess what people may have been saying?
um, were they like telling him he was right, like he was on the Truman Show or something?
Worse than that. They're like, I'm so woke too. I'm awake, and when I realized I'm the main character. So I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, so they're the main character, and that person is an NPC, and, oh, that guy's the main character, and everybody else is an NPC?"
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, "Who's the actual main character?" Like,
Jesus Christ.
that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know, dude. It just makes me think, like, it's gonna cause, like, so much more narcissism. I feel
Well, even if it is like a low level main character syndrome, like that's still not good, even if you're not like outwardly saying it, but you just kind of, like I said, you're just so self-conscious, and like, you're like just only posting selfies, and
mm,
like, I think about that with girls sometime, like, is that it's acceptable for a girl to just post if she's pretty or something, and she's just like, oh, like Kim Kardashian type stuff.
mm.
um but I don't think that's good. Like, your life is just only about your face and like people
Oh,
looking at
dude.
you, and so I mean,
Well, and I do
there's
take
different levels.
selfies, but I always feel like what I try to center my selfies around is, like, what I'm doing. Like,
Well,
"Yo, I'm on the job," or "I'm at this cool location, and there's, like, a waterfall behind me," or something. Yeah.
yeah, I heard somewhere that um like men find women attractive when they're just sitting there just like doing a pose or something, but women find men attractive, like you said, when they're doing something, but like actually doing it, not like you say, like, I mean, it's good to take selfies, like self-love and all that.
I'll be like, "Take a picture of me while I'm working, bro."
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
or like someone taking a picture of you like on a dirt bike or something, like
Mm.
you're doing something, and that's what's attractive to women, but so it's just weird how
What
there's
if you're
like,
doing somebody?
yeah, yeah,
They're like,
then
"Damn, that is attractive."
yeah,
I
it
wish that
is.
was me. No.
They make whole websites about it.
Yeah, dude. Dude, I heard on and that's another thing for self-improvement. I've had to work on that shit,
What?
like addiction to porn,
Mhm.
and because 'cause I'm like, "Shit, I've had that addiction since I was a kid,
Right.
even before I was a teenager,"
Mhm.
you know? And then when freaking phones and internet became accessible, it's like, "Shit, dude." A
Yeah.
and even soft core stuff like chicks on TikTok,
Mhm.
I'll be like, "Man, I have to control myself from that." Or today at the grocery store, some chick in her, like, yoga pants all hiked up,
Yeah.
and I'm, like, shopping with my family,
Right.
and I, like, catch a glimpse, I'm like, "Oh my god," like, "Jake, don't look at her ass." Like
Yeah, I mean,
but I am married with kids, so
right.
it's another level of me having to, like, control myself. Like, if I was you and a single guy or whatever that's, like, out there
Mhm.
looking for somebody,
Yeah,
be a little different.
you still don't wanna be a creep, though. I think you know, it's a weird thing, man, because it's natural for anybody really, like even girls will check out another girl's ass. But when you're a guy, I think it's a little different because you do have to like you have to stop yourself because you're automatically a creep, and people will be like, stop sexualizing women's bodies and stuff.
Mhm.
And you're like, I can't help what I'm attracted to, but you can like avert your eyes, like glancing is one thing, but if you're like following someone around the store
Oh
or
my
like
god, yeah.
really staring, or some people take creep shots and shit. So I mean,
For sure. Yeah,
but
they're like act like they're texting, but be like snapping pictures of
mhm,
asses,
right.
and saving that for they'd be taking spank bank photos in their mind, like, "I'll remember that for later." Um, and
Hmm.
so, and honestly, I hate to even admit it, but it wasn't until, like, the last year that I, like, finally got off porn
Hmm.
because alcohol and drugs had a lot to do with that too,
Right.
and, it's not nothing about, like, not loving my wife or her being good enough. It's just like that addiction.
Well,
And
it's just so easy.
yeah, and it's just like it's just a weird thing. And it's like for I would end up with like guilt and shame
Hmm.
from it. And it's just weird. But then of course, growing up, I was like, this is how I should be. Like, is this what chicks want? Like, they want me to
Right.
finish on their face or what? No.
Some do, man. As
Oh, yeah.
I mean, girls are affected by it too, I'm our generation might be a little different because it wasn't so crazy when we were growing up, but
Mhm.
like kids get iPhones when they're fucking 10 years old now, so it's like people are really, really growing up with that, and I think both genders are affected by that.
Both
So
genders?
there's only two, man. Oh fuck.
There's like 75. No.
Every species is affected by it.
Yeah, dude. It's, well, that's gonna be the weird shit. I don't even know what they got out there nowadays.
I
I
mean,
I just stick to the pretty normal shit. But that's
for
the thing
sure.
about it nowadays is it, like, that's the danger of porn too, where I'm like, yeah, sure, there's just, uh stepmom porn or teacher or fucking whatever. But then
Well,
there's like the deep, dark, weird, twisted,
for sure.
and I'm like, it's only gonna grow. But what I was gonna say was I heard a little clip from Joe Rogan about, them saying like 30% of the internet or more is pornography,
I think it's way more, yeah.
and just, down to like every second what's searched for, how much money's made,
Yeah.
and just all that stuff. And it's just in my mind, I'm like, it's probably one of the oldest businesses in the world, like sex.
Mhm.
It's one of the oldest businesses. And, just when I would go, uh, you know, when I have talked to the therapist about childhood trauma stuff, of course that goes into it. Like, cause I'm like, man, that shit's probably always out there in people's lives. Like, you'll be a little girl or a little boy, and there's a creepy older people in your life. Not
Mhm.
gonna say any like particular stuff, but it has to always be there,
For sure.
you know, and
Definitely.
and especially for girls, I would
Mhm.
think.
Yeah,
So
man.
it's just crazy. Humans, and of course, when I go down those rabbit holes of like, I'm not even gonna say the word because I don't know, the people don't like to hear that word anyways. I don't like to use the words about older people that are attracted to younger people.
Mhm.
Um, but I just think it has to do with so much of like the darkness of humans or people in power,
For sure.
and not just money, but dark fantasies. Yeah.
Hmm. Dude, it's it's actually scary.
It it's probably my biggest fear.
Dude, and it's like one thing Joe Rogan was saying was like it's like kind of vampiric, because if you are traumatized by something like that, then you go on to traumatize another person,
Mhm.
and then it just keeps going. So it's like it's kind of like it is that that evil, man. It's fucking. But yeah, with the just sex in general and like the porn thing, like we are looking at it from like an American perspective, there's
Mhm.
there's other countries that are a lot more free about sex,
That's
and
true.
of course every place has got like uh their addictions and
Prostitutes
stuff.
and oh.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I don't think it should be something that is stigmatized, because nobody would exist without sex, you know?
Oh, for sure. And it's,
Like, what's to be ashamed about,
maybe if it wasn't I think there's definitely, like, obviously raising my kids I think nowadays in society, they're trying to even in some schools and other systems, they're trying to teach them about it younger, where in my mind, I'm
Right.
like, "Fuck no." Like,
I don't see why not.
I do because they'd be like I know kids that are younger that know about it, and they're just already, like, trying it.
But that's the thing, is we live in America, and like, you wanna really get in a conspiracy rabbit hole, like the people that settled in this country in the beginning, they were all like Puritans, like Puritan Christian, super strict and prude. And people that are hella prude are probably the type of people that have like some dark fantasy type shit, you know?
Oh, for sure. Well, I think if you're, like, restricted from it and it's made to be evil,
Right.
then, of course, you're gonna be attracted to it more.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah,
think having, like, a healthy
right.
upbringing on those types of things of,
Mhm.
like well, like, raising my kids, I'm like, "Well, I don't want my son to be, like, a womanizer or a
Mhm.
playboy that's like, dude, I'm just gonna" some people might want that for their kids, like, where they're like, "Dude, I just want my kid to get pussy galore, like, fucking
Mhm.
bang all the hot chicks that I never got to bang, just hundreds."
Right.
Which I've had those fantasies where I was like, "Dude, I just wanna fucking bang every hot chick in the world."
Yeah.
Um, but then when this other part of my brain starts operating, because there's these, like the part of me that's, like, my perversion or whatever,
Mhm.
and then there's, like, the stable, like, it's like the angel and devil on my shoulders,
Yeah.
where it's like, "No, man, just be, like, faithful to one woman that you love, your wife, have children, like, raise a family and be faithful." Because obviously, like, coming from a broken home and being like, "Oh, my parents cheated on each other, and the fuck?"
Mhm.
Like, why would you be in love and then, like, go fuck somebody else?
Right.
So, those are those other self-improvement things that I have had to work on through the years. Like, I've never cheated on my wife, but I've definitely been close to it.
Mhm.
And tempted for sure, and I would almost put myself in those situations to feel the thrill of desire.
Yeah. Well, I think, I was watching, um, the Tiger Belly podcast with Bobby Lee and his, I think they broke up now, but
Mhm,
Kalila. Um, she was on Theo Vaughn's podcast, and they were talking about it, and just talking about, being attracted to other people when you're in a relationship.
mhm,
And she was saying like, um, basically like there's nothing wrong with it, because you're just, you're a human being. And like I said, like if you're at the grocery store and you checking out asses, like it's just part of being a person, But if you are in a relationship and it's something you talk about and something that you can kind of uh
Not
like
hide.
well, yeah, not hide and kind of like just own it, and take the threat away and kind of disarm it, then you're not as likely to be tempted by it because you just know it's natural and you're not doing it because you want out or anything, but it's just part of being a human being, And um yeah,
I
I don't
was
know.
watching Yeah, you have something to say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I don't know if it's yeah, good to hide it either, but um, I've been in relationships where the other person can be like really, really jealous. And
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never I've never cheated once. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not saying if I had the chance I wouldn't, but I just never did. I've always
Mhm.
been the one to get cheated on. And so I've had relationships where the other person is super jealous and I'm like, well, why is this on your mind so much? Like kind of like guilty conscious type thing or
Mhm.
what, because it's and then like you try to bring it up and talk about it and it just turns into this big fight basically.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think it's important to talk about and just acknowledge.
Trust issues. I remember there was times that I'm pretty sure there's been, like, weird moments in, my relationship with my wife where sometitimes I feel like she would get jealous of, like, the TV,
Mhm.
and obviously we've moved beyond that or because I might be like, "Damn, fucking she's hot," or whatever,
Yeah.
but of course, it's the TV,
Yeah.
and, um, we're watching the new Elvis movie,
Mhm.
which I thought was rad personally, um, but Kayliana was like, "Man, the way they make him up to be like, you know, all the makeup and all the eyelashes," I'm like, "Don't you just say it. He's hot. I think he's hot too."
Right.
It's like or I'll kinda joke around with her about Jason Momoa. I'm like, He is fucking hot." Like, I'm a guy, I'm not, no homo. I'm not gay,
Right.
but I know a
You
good-looking
have
guy
eyes. Yeah.
when I see a good-looking guy, and oftentimes I'm like, "Damn, I wish I looked like that."
Well, yeah, yeah, for sure, man. And I think it's kind of the same thing too with the whole gay thing, like, because you know what it's like working construction, like dudes will not say that. They won't be like, oh, he's a good looking guy, like they will be like, oh, fuck that, like even just the other day, um, someone at work was telling a story about how he met up with a friend and he gave him a ride somewhere, or he's getting a ride from his friend, and the dude just said something like that, just mentioned, he's like, yeah, he's a good looking guy. And he ended up getting a ride home from somebody else because he was so freaked out. And
Yeah, man.
I'm like, it's not just because you notice that there's a guy is good looking. Like if you see like someone like Brad Pitt and then you stand him next to Steve Buscemi and you're like, who's the more good looking guy? It doesn't mean you want to fuck Brad Pitt, like
I mean,
I mean,
Steve Buscemi's getting fucked too,
for sure. I mean, I'm
and
just
sometimes that's what they'd be attracted to. I don't even know what people get attracted to. Like, obviously, you'll see. I don't know. Laws of attraction are weird. The chemistry between humans, pheromones are a real thing.
yeah.
The weird things about like when people are like, some people are attracted to beards, and some people are like, "Fuck, no way." They're
Yeah.
repelled, but some are like, they don't want a baby face. They want something more.
Mhm.
It's just strange. Again, the psychology of humans and that self-improvement stuff when it's like, uh, who do you wanna be? I would do that stuff. I would, like, draw pictures of myself being like, "Who do I wanna be? Do I
Yeah.
wanna look like this? Do I wanna be like this?" I would write things about the type of person I want to be, or sometimes write them like, "I am this
Mhm.
way," or "I
Yeah.
think this way,"
Yep.
just to manifest it more into life.
So, another thing, like, I don't know if you can tell, but I've listened to a lot of the Joe Rogan podcast. But another thing he said that always like kind of stuck with me was um, like, when you're like,
Like,
uh,
like,
I'm
I'm
getting
just,
there.
I'm just,
When you're like hitting up a girl or whatever, or like you're on a first date or something, and you're kind of putting on, and you like elevate yourself and kind of, you know,
oh yeah,
not
for sure.
not that you're faking, but you're just kind of being more than you actually are if you were just fucking chilling at home or whatever.
You want to be impressive for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Make
you're
a
trying to,
good first impression or second impression.
yeah, like when with that person, when you're trying to impress the girl, like just be that person, like at all times. Like if you want to be someone who that girl is attracted to, just be that person, like, and I think about that, and it's there's only so much you could do, but there is a lot you could do. Like if people just totally just don't give a fuck about their appearance and just kind of let themselves go, like there's
Mm-hmm.
things you could do, like dress a little nicer, or just keep yourself groomed or whatever, whatever you think it is that is going to attract that person.
I've been thinking about this
Yeah.
hardcore because, as I'm doing this self-reflection stuff and looking back on my life and how I've changed through the years. And sometimes I think about like, oh, when I first got with Kayliana, or I'd go through these phases where I would like get really good, you know,
Hmm.
like after a punk rock bender of ripped up shirts and jeans, I would also like kind of revert back to like, okay, I'm wearing like my nicer jeans and shoes and a button up shirt, or I'm wearing more normal quote unquote stuff
Hmm.
that, and it's interesting kind of balancing those kind of different identities or personalities that we might have of like strangely enough our clothes do they almost affect, of course they affect the way people see us,
Hmm.
but I feel like they affect us.
For sure.
Like if
Yeah.
I'm wearing tie-dye shirts, I feel different
Definitely.
than a button up collar.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, that's one of the coolest things about clothes, like it's cool to look nice to other people, but like some people, like my cousin Chase, he's like, I will never leave the house in sweatpants. Like I won't
Mm,
even go outside to check the mail in sweatpants. And I'm
mm,
like, well, what if they're a nice pair of sweatpants? Like what if they're really nice, like, you spent a
Gucci.
hundred, yeah, or not even that really, but just like you spend some good money on a good pair of sweatpants, and you got a nice shirt on and nice sneakers, like, is it really, you don't look like a bum,
I got some dope sweatpants.
Yeah, like
They
it's
weren't
just,
even that expensive.
yeah, but to him, the way he feels is like he's a lazy bum if he's
Mhm.
walking around in sweatpants. But I'm like, I'm comfortable, but it also looks nice, you know? So
Yeah, I
it's,
remember this one show because I even bought some more comfortable clothes to perform in too. Because sometimes I get up there all decked out, and like button up vest, pants, the leather pants, the boots, the blah blah blah, get all decked out. And other times it's like, I'm just wearing my jeans and Converse and
hmm,
a t-shirt or whatever.
yeah,
And I remember seeing this one other dude performing that was like one of the heads of their independent record label, and he literally got on stage, and this dude next to me was like, "Is this motherfucker wearing his sweatpants and socks?" He
yeah,
was.
yeah, man. Like yeah, it is that balance of like, okay, I know how people judge you, but I also know how I feel, and I think it's, I think it's weird because some people will say things like a man should never wear shorts above his knee, because that's kind of coming back. Like I'm wearing shorts like that right now, you
Right.
know. And I never fucking understood that. Like, why do you care so much? And what does it even mean? Like,
I don't know. I have both types of shorts. Like sometimes I like wearing my ones that are like beyond or at my knee.
mhm,
And then other times, like if I'm hanging around the house, I'll wear my nice, comfortable, like above my knee,
yeah,
kind of like more like comfortable material. But
for
when I'm
sure.
out with like jean shorts or cargo shorts,
Mhm.
I'm like, I like them at my knee or below. And if I'm working, because I have some other painter shorts I bought that go above my knee, and I'm like, I fucking hate wearing these. Like, I
Yeah.
bend over and they get like really hiked up. And if I
Mhm.
kneel down, my knees are scraping. And sometimes I like to be able to kneel down on my
Yeah, for sure.
jean shorts.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with like pants. Like, I'll be like, yo, I got tighter pants and I have baggier pants.
Yeah, and same thing with that too is um, like dudes or girls would be like, a guy should not wear skinny jeans. Like,
Right?
it just offends them in this weird way when it's like,
Oh,
I don't see
guys will be
why.
like, fucking skinny jeans.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, when I very first started working at BMC, and it was a whole
Hmm.
different crew and shit, and the foreman at the time was like, he would call me skinny jeans. And like he just started calling me Skinny J. And um I turned it into J Money. I'm like, you better start calling me J Money because
Nice. Well,
but
I'm skinny.
yeah.
Skinny jeans are pretty comfortable sometimes when they're like got that good stretch material.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know, there's comfort in different levels. And like, I don't know, there's those weird levels of appearance or identity with like what you wear, which one of my homies was even saying that recently, being like, I'm just trying to figure out like what my style is,
Right.
and being like, obviously we wear like work clothes, but
Hmm.
then like outside of work, I don't know, you might have different clothes or same clothes for work, but
No, no. I mean, that's what I was gonna bring that up when you're talking about like just the way clothes make you feel. Like when you're working all day and you got your work clothes on, you come home and take a shower, put on some, even if it's just normal clothes or more comfortable clothes, like you just feel so much better, like,
mm-hmm.
or different at least, you feel way different. Um, but yeah, it's weird how things go in and out of style, like the skinny jeans and stuff. And I was gonna bring this up with what my cousin was, because he'll say shit like that to me, like I'll be wearing socks with sandals and he just be
Mm-hmm.
giving me shit for it. And I'm like, why do you care for one? And it's not it's not like people do that. Like I don't know if you've ever been on the internet before, but mad people wear socks with sandals. It's not like I'm the
I
only
do.
person. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't, but it all depends on the situation. Like for me personally, like I'll joke with people about, oh, socks and sandals. Oh, you got the Birkenstocks with the socks.
Right.
But I'll do it, especially like if I'm gonna go to somewhere public or like a meeting. I'll
Yep.
be wearing my socks and slides or something. And
Right.
if I'm outside of my house or going to the beach,
Hmm.
I'll have my toes out. But I don't want my fucking feet and my toes. I don't have pristine feet. I
I
got like
mean,
hairy knuckle toes, and my left toenail might be a little unclipped, and my
yeah.
right toenail might be a little fucking too much clipped.
Yeah, that's for me at least, like that's the only time I would really care about what someone else is wearing is if it's something that doesn't fit them. Like, it doesn't fit their body right.
Like a
Like,
female that's really big that's wearing a small shirt.
yeah, or a guy that's wearing like the craziest baggy pants. It's like not even like on some like some rapper shit or anything, because that is like a style that is like made to look that way, and
Good.
it
Yeah.
does look good sometimes, you know. When I'm talking about people who are just wearing like just some like husky jeans from Walmart or something, you know, and it's like it just looks bad, you know, and they don't care obviously, but I'm like, dude, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, just some well-fitting clothes, like it does so much, you know.
Well, you got to buy the right waist size
Hmm.
and like length size. I mean, some people be rocking the high waters
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And that's like the style, like a hipster style. They'd be like, yo, I gotta roll my cuffs up at the bottom
Yep.
and wear my socks and sandals
Hmm.
and my denim vest
Yeah.
and, my beanie in the
Hmm.
summertime or whatever. There's like, it's interesting how those different looks happen. But I always found it interesting when people are like, if you go to the party or the club and the best dressed person is the brokest person out there,
Yeah, I mean,
like
you
overcompensating.
for sure. You can definitely care way too much, you know, and I think, you know, if you're like Kevin Hart or something, you know, like, yeah, of course you could spend as much money as you want on clothes and stuff, and it's a drop in the bucket, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, like even with like the skinny jeans and stuff, like those are going out of style, you know, like, and even for myself, I'm not wearing them as much. Like, I just like a pair of pants that fit good, you know, like,
Yeah.
and they didn't really make them back in the day. Same with skinny jeans, you know, they didn't make skinny jeans for guys. Like, we had to wear girl pants.
Yeah,
Eh,
I did that for a while, and
but
I'd have to hem the bottom of them.
yep, yep. But just like a pair of pants that are like, it just has a good silhouette. Like, they're still like trim to your body, you know, like your legs and stuff, but they're baggy enough around the whole leg, but not like baggy at the foot where it's like just a huge, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Jinko?
yeah, yeah.
I
So
do
like,
want a pair of Jinko though, just to like more like make music videos with,
right.
like a funny video.
Yeah.
But again, it comes into the style. I've been going through my closet. My
Hmm.
closet recently broke. Was I telling you about that? No.
No.
That rod, one of the things fell off. I was like, "Oh, I guess that's my sign to go through my closet again and get rid of a bunch of clothes."
Yeah.
So I went and donated a bunch of clothes, and I still feel like I need to downsize because
Yeah,
I only
dude.
wear like the same usual shirts,
Yep.
but I have the other nice ones or certain occasion shirts too.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Um, I'm finding like I really like the Naija style, you know, like big shirts and short shorts. For whatever reason, that's like the most comfortable. That's what I'm wearing right now.
Nice. Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's to each his own, really, whatever they like. Again, it comes back to the comfort thing. Um,
mhm.
and
Oh, dude. Speaking of signs, so I for whatever reason I've seen like a bunch of praying mantises at work lately, right?
whoa.
Yeah, and so the other day I come into work and we have lockers up in the break room where we clock in,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a praying mantis like on my locker. So I was like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" You know, and like he was there all day.
What?
But yeah, so like I looked it up because you kind of turned me on to this, just like looking up the symbology of stuff like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't do that all the time, but it was like on my locker, so I'm like, okay, maybe it is a sign, you know. So
Right, yeah.
I looked it up, and it was just all about like um just like stillness and patience and kind of just being more methodical about like decisions, like if you have to talk to somebody or if you're thinking about something.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And it was just
They're fascinating.
for sure, dude.
I
I've seen like 3 in the past month.
Dude, I recently looked it up as well.
Weird.
Yeah, because I'll tell you another story about praying mantises here in a minute, but I had this dream recently. It was like a nightmare. Like,
Hmm.
sometimes I have work nightmares,
Right.
where me and my cousin were working on a remodel, and we're pulling all this stuff down. We're like, oh, this is going pretty good. And then in my nightmare, it's like, oh, dude, we forgot about all these other jobs we gotta do. Like, we have this other one we got to get to, and then I forgot about this other one completely.
Yep.
And so we're going back to my truck, and at my truck, there was this big praying mantis in my dream.
Hmm.
And it was like not the normal ones. Have you seen that there's some like strange ones?
I think so. Yeah, they're more like, yeah, look it up.
Yeah. Um, well, anyways, in my dream, this thing was like talking, like he could speak
Right.
English. And I was like,
Hmm.
whoa, dude, I gotta like catch this thing or kill this thing. It's like an alien. And so
They
that's the other
are.
thing I was gonna say was, how I'd get pretty deep into like different possible alien beings out there.
Yep.
And so I was pretty fascinated with the
Yeah.
like that one there. Dude,
Dang.
that thing is crazy. The leaf ones that look like actual leaves.
Yeah.
Um,
Look at that one in the top left. It's like a crab looking one.
dude,
Uh,
that thing is just insane. I mean, that's the typical one I see.
that's yeah. That's
But
what we
just
got
the
around
look
here.
of them, dude. And so I I think you were with me one time where some friends came over and had a bunch of LSD in a vial and
Hmm.
was like, "Yo, here you go, man." And they just like gave me some
Right.
straight out the vial. And then he's like, oops." And I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh shit, man. You just like gave me extra?" Which always happens when people give you straight out the vial. It's always like, beep, beep. Oh, there was a few more drops than I intended.
Yeah.
But I would call it was almost pretty much an overdose scenario because I like pissed myself that night.
Yeah.
And I I remember like going into the bathroom. Jeez, look at this guy looking right at you.
Yeah.
And I went into the bathroom and I felt like so small on the planet. I felt like this planet was like a petri dish
Hmm.
and that there was these like giant, I don't know if it'll even come up with some aliens, but I felt like there was these like praying mantis type giant alien beings that they were like scientists that could like create humans, and I just felt
Hmm.
like they were watching us
Right.
from beyond. But yeah, I don't know. That was just a strange experience I had.
Dang.
And the praying mantis though, dude, there's something about them like I feel like they're just super like intelligent.
Yeah, man. And that is what's weird too, is like they'll just look at you, like they'll turn their heads and look at you. It's like that one that was on my locker, it was there all day. And then the next day it jumped over and was on the window. And I,
Hmm.
I picked it up and put it outside and stuff. But like if
You
you just
picked
get
it up?
yeah, I've
You don't
got a
have that
little
fear of like little bugs and stuff. You're like, "Oh, I'll just pick this thing up."
not really. I mean, I didn't pick it up with my hand. I had a little piece of trash or something.
Oh, right.
Um yeah, I get the heebie-jeebies a little bit, but I'm not like freaking out.
Right.
um I wanted to tell you about a dream that I had because so I'm sure you've experienced this too, but like when you quit smoking weed, your dreams get pretty nuts.
Yes.
And I've been telling you that, but I can never really remember them. But the other day, for whatever reason, I woke up and I just remembered a lot, you know?
Mhm.
And so in this one part of my dream, I was in this house and I had a bunch of roommates, and one of them was Mark Zuckerberg. And he was in the other room and
It's
he was
funny
like,
because you're not a Facebook guy.
no, he fucking infiltrated my dreams. But it gets weirder. He was in the other room and he was like beating his daughter, right?
Whoa.
Yeah. And so like I go in there to confront him. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? And then he starts crying and he's just like, I'm just fighting my daughter again. And yeah, and then another part of my dream was like I was back in Pablo and I had two dogs. Like my mom has a bunch of dogs, right? And I have my dog that she takes care of over there.
Mhm.
Um, but they were just random dogs, but they were my dogs in the stream. And they were like sitting on something. And I realized it was like a dead dog that they were just sitting on, chilling on. And it was like my neighbor from across the way, Alex, it was his dog.
Mm.
And so I was like getting pissed at him, like, dude, you need to fucking pick this up, you know?
Right.
And yeah, it was super strange. But yeah, it was all about like confronting people, but
Mm.
I remembered it super clearly, and it just like it was just weird how much I remembered after not remembering any of my dreams.
Well, that's the other thing I look up all the time too, is dream symbolism or possible dream meaning. And I'll look that up even about like the praying mantis, where I'll look, oh yeah, what's the symbolism behind them? Or, like if it happens in my waking life, I'll still research what they symbolize in a dream
Hmm.
because a part of me is still fantasized with the idea that this could all be a dream. Like life could be like a dream within a dream within a dream that
Right.
one day we wake up from this life or whatever. But or I would think it would pertain to waking life and dreaming life. Um, but I was gonna say something else about, oh yeah, the dog thing, dude. Today when I was at Home Depot, I was gonna walk down this aisle, and there was a person with their dog,
Hmm.
and I was like, the old me would have just walked right past that dog, but I was like, dude, I'm not. I went around,
Like a little bit of PTSD.
dude, for real, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the other thing about this dog attack was, like, I'm okay, my legs are healing, but
Hmm.
it all happened, like, so fast,
Yeah.
and it just was like that's the other thing I don't think that, like, this person was thinking about when they were, like, basically trying not to take blame or responsibility and be like, "Well, he showed up a little early, so" you know?
Right.
And it's like, dude, that doesn't really justify the fact you this fucking vicious dog.
Yeah.
But and because they're, you know, talking to the peeps and they're like, "Well, they should pay your insurance and your medical bills." And I'm like, "Medicaid paid for it all. Like, I don't
Right.
have to pay anything because of my insurance." So, and I'm not trying to like sue them. I don't be like, I don't want them to put the dog down,
Yeah,
but the city might because of previous dog attacks.
for sure.
That's not up to me though, and it's not my fault that that happened to me. Um, but that PTSD stuff where I'm like, man, fuck. I'm supposed to see my therapist again on Monday, and we got to the point where it's like, all right, you can just call me whenever you like need to talk to me again. He's a trauma based therapist.
Hmm.
And I was like, man, I don't really got nothing. And now I'm like, well, I got some new trauma that I guess I can talk about now.
Hmm.
Kind of joking around, but I'm like, nah, seriously though.
Yeah, man. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything like super life changing, to affect your your psyche. my mom has this book about trauma. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's basically how trauma is stored in the body.
Mhm.
I think it might be called something like that.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's not necessarily that just only affects your mental, like it affects your whole like nervous system,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, man. Like when when everything happened with Chris that night,
Uh-huh.
um one thing that always like was crazy to me was just, and the doctor told me about it too, uh time dilation it's called,
Mhm.
because I remember it being like, it was like 9 or 10 at night when that happened with Chris, and then literally just all of a sudden it was like 3 in the morning,
Mm.
and I was just like, "What?" Like, I couldn't believe it, dude. I was like, "W I don't even," it felt like I just skipped like 4 or 5 hours,
Right.
and yeah,
That would
man,
be a really traumatic experience too, you know?
for sure, yeah. I mean,
And well, all the situational stuff, like what you might be doing at that time. Like
mhm,
that's the things, all the trigger things that you have to like learn to grow and push through. That's what I've been dealing with is like how, when I'd like have a panic attack or anxiety attack. Cause some people be like, I don't know about anxiety. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Like you go get anxiety, you go to do something important. I'm like, well, that's like normal.
right,
But when I had like anxiety attacks or like panic attacks that would make me either like extremely paranoid or just like frozen. Like I
yeah,
was like paralyzed.
yeah,
Like I was just like, dude, all I want to do is like lay here and wrap up in a blanket.
mhm,
And it would just be like one time I was just gonna go to like a family event.
right,
And it's like, why am I having a panic attack?
mhm,
And so I don't know, those things are real. And like you say, how they store in the body
yeah,
and how we block them out is the weird thing. But then the trigger hits, and all of a sudden it just like wakes you back up and it'll like flash you back.
mhm,
It's so, I don't know. So, and that's what the mind thing I was telling you, I would do that thing with the lights
yep,
where we would have to go back to the traumatic experiences and like talk through them.
mhm,
And be like, how does it make you feel? What was it like? How do
yeah,
you react? And I'd be watching these lights go back and forth.
mhm,
And basically, it's supposed to kind of reprogram your mind where it doesn't erase the memories,
right,
just makes it like easier to deal with when they come up or when the trigger happens.
yeah, yeah, the eye tracking kinda thing.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it right now, but
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, I mean, I was seeing like it was super weird because it was like a place um for women to go after, like like if they lose their child or something like that.
mhm.
And so I was the only guy going in there.
Mm,
So that was kind of weird. But the lady, she was super cool, and she was doing something like that, and she was just using like a pen.
mhm.
And but she was doing it, like, in front of my face, like, this fast. And so I'm, like, really try and she's like, "Are you doing it?" And I'm like, "I can't move my eyes that fast." Like,
Right? Jesus.
so
It'd
I
be
don't.
like the clocks, like the and it is kind of hypnotizing. Um,
Yeah.
I've wanted to do some of that hypnosis for like past life regression, but one of the things that I really got into when I was down the rabbit hole, especially when I was on psychedelics and alcohol, and especially like it was like a period before COVID happened. And then when COVID happened and the world shut down, it kind of like enhanced it, and I kind of went deeper down the rabbit hole.
Right.
But it was about, I've always been into the government, like MK Ultra, or just experiments that the government or CIA might be up to, possibly. Which of
Yep.
course they would be. I'm like, dude, if I was fucking high up governments, I'd be like studying humans and psychology. And
Yeah.
but the trauma-based mind control, you ever hear about that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how, they might even use it with people that are highly influential celebrity types, or even just probably like the human trafficking stuff, where, and I
Yep.
know people that have been human trafficked,
Yeah.
not personally, but I know people that their family has got caught up in like
Mhm.
sex rings in Vegas, that where they take
Right.
your ID, and you basically just become trapped and probably addicted to heroin and meth or something.
Right. Right.
And then probably so afraid of the handlers or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, that trauma-based mind control of imprinting fear on people to manipulate some, I don't know.
What's what's weird about that too is like the butterfly symbol is like a big part of that too, isn't it?
Yeah, monarch mind control.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you see all these Britney Spears has album covers with like just a butterfly on it and just it's yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, that's one of my album covers for Psychedelia. That's what I put on there, was a monarch butterfly, and
Mhm.
then like a desert, like a psychedelic desert floor with cracks in it,
Yep.
to symbolize how that's how the trauma-based mind control is like, first they have to like split your
Mhm.
identity or something in your mind, so that you kind of disassociate who you are,
Yep.
so you can be reprogrammed into being,
Dude, I think that shit's real.
it is real. um and that's why, dude, I'd be on like LSD and down these rabbit holes and watching like videos that I'd feel like I'm being hypnotized. And
Mhm.
that's when it, again, the main character syndrome happened, or where it was like, why is this happening to me? What is going on here? Why do I feel like I'm being like a test subject? I'd be like, on this psychedelic, is this freeing my mind, or is it controlling my mind?
Dude, yeah. I was going to sleep the other night and I was listening to some it was like rain sounds with subliminal messages under it, but it's supposed to be like for like motivation and success type shit, you know?
Oh, those are actually, I believe in those.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're cool, but for whatever reason, just the one that I clicked on, it was like freaking me out because I'm like, I don't know what I'm listening to. Like, because subliminal, you're not supposed to hear it, right? It's supposed to be just below the level of perception, right?
Right,
So like you're not supposed to hear it or see it or whatever. But I could kind of just hear this like murmuring every once in a while, you
right.
know. So I couldn't not focus on it. And it was hard to fall asleep. But at the same time, I'm like, what are they saying? Like they could be saying anything, like, you know, like brainwashing
Like,
me type
kill the
shit.
president or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I was so I clicked off it.
Yeah, dude, I was actually going to start making a YouTube channel that's just stuff like that.
Dude, you should. You can make
Like,
mad money.
yeah, that's what Kayliana sent me, was like some TikToks of like, and I was like, oh yeah, I should. I've always wanted to do that, like 2 hours of rain, or meditation, calm,
Yeah, dude.
soothing music. And
Those videos get millions of views, you know?
yeah, and I'm like, why? I should just have a channel that's all that. I mean,
And
you should too.
you won't
It's
get
like,
copyright striked. Like it's super ad friendly, you know?
I was thinking of even making that music and then just releasing it on Spotify too, and being like,
Yeah.
yo, I just, people that want to listen. And Drem actually one time told me, he's like, dude, you should release an album that's just like silence.
Mhm.
And I'm like, actually, I think people do. Isn't that weird? Like, people listen to silence.
Yeah, yeah. Um, there's this like meme that was going around. It was like, um, it's like I call this piece anxiety, and it was like the musical note for silence, but it just kept getting faster and faster.
Oh, no way. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Um, well, I wanted to show you this real quick that was, and I may have showed you this before, but it's again about that monarch mind control stuff. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
have we seen this before? The stuff where in your brain hemispheres, it's basically like a monarch butterfly shape.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen that.
So I
Wow.
think that's where a lot of it comes from, basically, is how, like, in our brain, like,
Mm-hmm.
that we have that. It's just like the way our brain is designed
Yeah.
as part of the like two hemispheres
Mm-hmm.
or something. So
Wow.
I think that's really where the monarch mind control is kind of based around, that
Right.
whole idea of
Dang.
like splitting the mind or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
that was just, see, when I got deep into like the esoteric stuff of basically how everything in reality, like the as above, so below, as within, so without, where it's like the most amazing thing about our bodies and our brains and our bones and our organs and like everything that makes up who we are is it all has like the deepest, craziest symbolism to it.
Yeah, man.
And I'm just like, it blows my mind. I can't even remember the name of this channel. I gotta find him again. I'll send you a link. But this one dude, he's like a guru type. Um, but he's just kind of obsessed with that stuff. Where he's like, if you look at the brain, or
Mm-hmm.
all our bones and our spine, and of course he breaks it down into like the reproductive organs and
Yeah.
how these all have such deep symbolism that relates to, different arts and religions and spiritual beliefs.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, as an artist as well, I think you would be really into that stuff.
Yeah. For sure, dude. Like it's I like learning about shit like that where it's like just shit you don't really give a second thought, you know? But
Mhm.
then someone will break it down where that's kind of why I like all these different like commentary channels and like channels that do just documentaries on anything, you know. But yeah, like the human body, man, or just life, you know, like animals, you know. It's pretty crazy.
Dude, for real. Alright, this is the guy. I'll show you real quick.
Hmm.
Um, it's called Lifting the Veil.
Okay.
This dude, he
You
gets,
would be subscribed to this.
yeah, dude, for real. You know me, man. I'm into like just the wildest. But to me, I'm like, this is,
It's like a small channel too.
yeah, not even
You're
8,000
not even
subscribers.
subscribed. Hmm.
Notification bell. This is my Crossroads music channel I'm under.
All right.
I have like a Jake Ryan channel, Crossroads
Hmm.
podcast channel. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, so symbols of power, the body temple, like, so a lot of this stuff will go into like the actual like Illuminati stuff of like not just the cult or Hollywood or government elite, but like what being illuminated
Yeah.
in the body, or with the body being like a temple for the Holy Spirit, or some people might be like evil spirits might be in the body,
Hmm.
or just the light or darkness within the body. So
Wow.
yeah, it's super fascinating. He'll go into things like etymology and the symbolism behind words
Hmm.
and the way they're spelled, and how they'll say things about spelling, being like the spelling of words or cursive words are almost like magic in itself of like how we cast spells or curses and
Yeah.
just stuff like that where like the power behind words and like the simple forms of where they're derived from
Yep.
and just stuff like that. So really cool channel. He makes some music too. Um, but yeah, dude. Speaking of new music, do you hear about Ozzy new album?
No.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
The Oz man still out there rocking some music.
Hell yeah, man.
Pretty badass, but
For sure.
yeah,
No, I didn't hear that. I'll have to check it out.
check it out, bro. It's good. You know, he's got Zach Wild on there, Eric
Of course.
Clapton,
Hmm.
Tony Iommi,
Yep.
even Pearl Jam guitar players on there.
Yeah. That's
Um,
what's up.
yeah, bro. But I don't know. Have you been working on new music or just getting your podcast?
I mean, I've mostly been focused on that in my free time, which isn't a lot.
Well, you
So,
got your new microphone stand, new
yep,
mic
just
arm.
picked this up today. Got the ring light. Got,
Nice.
I mean, I don't really need anything more, you know. I just wanted this because I was sick of holding the mic, and it came with like actual mount so you could screw it into the table, you know.
Does it
Um,
screw into the table? Mine is like like a vice clamp, like you tighten
yeah,
it up.
it's got both,
Oh,
but
nice.
yeah, it's pretty sturdy, man. Like I just didn't want to get one online that was a little bit cheaper and then have the springs be kind of weak or whatever. But this is
Mm-hmm.
like it's like actually hard to move it, you know.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been looking for one for a while, so figured I'd get it. Just kind of figuring out the whole like just look of if it's gonna be on YouTube, you know, doesn't have to be like real nice or anything, but I just want it to be kind of like the same every time.
Well, that makes it look better having that screen
Hmm.
to block off.
Oh, right, for
Um,
sure.
I'm stoked you got the podcast going. I think it looks dope.
Hmm.
I like the logo of it and
Yeah, I while I was like scouring the web for different videos on just like how to set up a podcast, came across
mhm.
this website. It's called Canva, and
Oh
you
yeah, I'm
can
familiar with Canva.
yeah. So I made it like an actual little
Subscribe on my other channel too.
hell yeah,
I do like doing that because I will subscribe to same pages with my other channels because I do like sometimes I'll be on that other account and I do like the feed to come in.
right. Yeah, man. Fucking Dummy Head podcast. I'm gonna be doing try to do semi-weekly and recorded one today. I'm still editing it, and I'll probably do another one tomorrow. I'd like to just batch them. That way I could be ahead of it, you know?
I've tried to do that. I have done it at times. That's what's good about the solo ones is sometimes I'll go on a binge and I'll do like a bunch in one night. Um,
For sure.
but yeah, like you were saying, I think the topics is a really good thing to do because obviously when we're talking like today, we end up talking about multiple things.
Yeah.
And that's when I would like to chop it up into little things. My light shut down over here.
Oh dang.
That's okay. I charge it up. But
Yep.
it I think it helps the algorithm and listeners
Hmm.
when they're like, "Oh, he's going to talk about this one topic." Like I'll do some that are just my first experience with LSD
Right.
and my second. I'm like, dude, I have so many psychedelic stories I want to share with people.
Yeah.
Other than that though, I think you would do good sharing some of your experiences with stuff like that, like alcohol or marijuana, and maybe sometimes why you're like, I decided to, not use it as well sometimes or
Hmm.
ultimately or whatever, and why,
Right.
or other things like the book you're reading. Like if you just did one about almost like a book review, but like, yo, I was reading this book.
Mhm.
Because people that are out there that are like, I want to know about the atomic habits,
Yeah.
and you just have that thumbnail of you like, yo, this is my review of atomic habits.
Yeah.
Then get your Amazon affiliate,
Affiliate.
put
Yep.
that down below, and people click on it. Boom.
Yeah.
It's just another, part of the web, part of the.
Mhm.
And I look forward to your Dummy Head podcast. I'm really stoked you got it going.
For sure, dude. Yeah, let me I'll show you the like just the little intro that I came up with. Can you see that?
Yep.
I had to steal your Premiere.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I just took it off of my computer because I needed a little more space on my drive.
Well, one that I signed out of, it said it was signed in like 2 years ago or something.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. If I'll get that sometimes, and
Mhm. Okay. So yeah, this is just like the little
oh, is this your porno? I'm just kidding.
right. Whoops.
Speaking of that, yeah.
But yeah, just
Nice. Dude,
uh,
great job.
I just wanted something that was like a little
Quick,
more eye
simple.
catching. Yep.
I dig it, man.
Hell yeah.
Great job.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, dude, I think, I know for sure that some of our homies like listening to us,
Mhm.
but I think you'll get, like, random people too.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why I've been thinking about it so much is I want it to be like kind of like an actual show in a way. Um, like I said, I'm not really trying to overthink it too much because I'll just not record anything.
Mhm.
But like me, like I don't mind sharing about like serious stuff and just being honest about stuff. But at the same time, like I want it to be entertaining,
Mhm.
because just the stuff that I'm looking up when I'm on YouTube, like some of it is some serious stuff. And I'm not like trying to shy away from like those like real kind of human moments. But I just want to have fun with it too. Like that's why I called it the Dummy Head podcast, is just, just not don't want to take it too serious. And yeah,
I
um,
think you'll do good with it, especially after, like you say, you just once you start doing it,
yeah.
and then you'll find your niche, and it might take a little while,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
it'll come together
for sure.
as long as you stick with it.
Right. Yeah.
So stick with it, because I would even still have thoughts about. I think about this one all the time where I'm like, should I even just keep doing this?
Hmm.
I don't know, but I think that about it's part of my condition
Right.
that I think about everything where I'm like, there's that part of me that just wants to give up
Hmm.
when I'm doing good. I'll self
Yeah.
sabotage, or before I even succeed at something, I was like, I'm gonna fail anyways. So,
Well, it's weird because like, I titled the first podcast, um, and I changed the title, but the first one was like, "Is it too late to start a podcast?" And I
mm,
didn't I didn't even really talk about that in the podcast, which is why I changed the title.
hmm
Um,
I like to
but
enter the dummyverse, entering the dummyverse.
yeah, yeah, I think I'm gonna keep like a kind of like a space, kind of like sci-fi theme to it. So like the
Mm,
titles might be more like space exploration, kind of like whatever. Still
hmm
having to do with what I'm talking about, but um yeah, like that is something I think about because it's like, not to keep bringing up the Joe Rogan podcast, but when he started that podcast, there was like not a lot of successful podcasts out. There might have been like one or two, you
hmm
know. And now like it's just so hard not to compare yourself to like these really big podcasts, or somebody who like is already famous and they start a podcast. Of course, it's going to be successful, you know. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I'm trying to just not even think about any of that. And I think most important thing really is just the fact that like, you know, you just if you just like be yourself, like it's not you're not really going to be doing anything that anyone else is doing, you know, because you even if you are trying to emulate like a certain style or something, like it's still going to be you, you know. And I've always thought like you should be a fucking like a host for a TV show or something, you know.
Ha!
Because like whatever reason, like
I've thought that too.
yeah, yeah, dude, for sure. Like watching like ridiculousness or something, like sometimes I'll be like, ah, Jake could be doing this, you know, like it's just
Well, I'm trying to get my mojo back still. Like,
hmm
I've been going through a really weird self-discovery thing again of being the fun guy, fun, joking comedy. Because when I was drunk and on drugs, I'd
hmm
be really like, oh, I got funny ideas and I just do stupid stuff. Um, but I'd also crash and get really sad and really depressed. My
yeah.
manic bipolar and depression would go like, I'm all of a sudden super happy and crazy and woo 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 to fuck, I hate my life and I wish I was dead.
The thing about you though is like you're so fucking hilarious when you're not trying to be. Like just the unintentional humor is like it's really good, I think. And you know, when you're trying to be funny, it's really fucking hard, especially by yourself, you know. Like I feel like I'm way funnier when I'm like with other people and have things to like, you know, if someone says something, then like something will just pop in my head and it's like the ridiculous thing to say, you know.
But
But
natural thing like the quick-witted normal human interaction.
yeah, like just yesterday, my cousin was making fun of my fucking my man purse. I was like, yeah, that's where I keep my
Merce.
yeah. I was like, it's where I keep my grenades and my chainsaw. You know, just man shit. But like, you just don't
You could
when
have
you're
a
sitting.
podcast on that, like why you should have a merce.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to those things where it's like other people will care a little bit too much, and I'm like, I just don't like having a bunch of shit in my pockets. So sometimes I'll fucking have this little satchel bag, you know.
True that. I liked in your podcast how you talked about how in a group setting you're not the talkative person, like you're quieter
hmm
and you're more reserved. And obviously you'll interact, but
Yeah.
you're not that guy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I don't have a problem with it. It's other people that have a problem with it, you know?
Why are you so
Be-
quiet? Yeah.
yeah. Like, what are you gonna fucking watch out for this guy? He's a quiet guy, you know? Like,
He's got
you
a
know.
gun. No.
I'm like, yeah, I do, but
Yeah. That's what I told the homie at work the other day. And I was like, dude, fucking be careful when you come in here. They got a attack dog. Bring your gun.
yeah. I mean, it's fucking Montana. Everybody's got a gun.
I know. I was like, dude, you should just start fucking packing your piece on your hip, coming to work, bro.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's the thing that bothers me most about being quiet is just like people will just assume that you're just like in a bad mood or something, you know? And I do it to other people too, you know, like, but I don't know. I'll talk to people, you know, like I will approach people and stuff and be like, yo, like what'd you do this weekend and shit, you know? But
Hmm. Well,
not it's
yeah, it's good to have a normal human interactions.
it depends on who I'm with too, though. Like, I mean, I haven't been quiet on this podcast, you know, like
Well, it's a
if it's
podcast.
I know, but like still like if it was somebody else, I might be a little more reserved or like self-conscious or whatever.
Hmm.
But when you're just with people who allow you to be yourself, you know, that's it's a lot more fun, you know.
Well, that was some of the other things on my ADHD questionnaire was talking too much,
Mhm.
which sometimes I do find myself doing that, like, at work,
Yeah.
where I'm like, "What? God, why can't I just shut up sometimes? Like, do I always have to be talking?"
Right.
Obviously, I'll go through some silent periods too, but that is something I'm trying to get a little more of a control on is just being like, "You know what? Just" I'm trying to get better about complaining, like, I'm like, "I don't wanna complain."
Mhm.
I just want to eliminate that from my vocabulary and thought process because I'm like, why?
Right.
I don't want to complain about the dishes or complain about, oh, my wife, oh, she said this, or, I'm sick of her like piles of laundry.
Right.
Jack needs to do his dirty laundry.
Right.
Sean,
John, yeah.
yeah, just stuff like that where I'm like, oh man, I don't, it's a natural thing. But again, like you're saying, the self improvement where I'm like, I'm just trying to reprogram some of these thought patterns,
Mhm.
catch myself in them, and then I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, like, just like with the, the praying mantis thing, like, all day that day, of course, when you're at work, like, you get frustrated at shit and whatever, but, like, I'm not really the type of person that will, like, really, really get mad and be like, "Dude, what the fuck?" and just start going off, Sometimes I'll be like, "Fuck," but it's not like I'm really, really, like it's not a problem, but still just like that whole day, and that was only yesterday, but, just since then, like, just that's been in the back of my mind, and just like you said, just catching
Wait,
yourself.
oh yeah, yeah. I was thinking that today. Um, and ironically, well, what I was thinking today was like the old me, how I would react to things, like getting defensive about the dog thing to people and being like angry or blow up about, oh, he got there early, so
Yep.
maybe like, well, fuck you, goddamn dog,
Mhm.
fuck, take that thing out to pasture.
Right.
Get grandpa's old rifle or what, it's like, no, dude, like I understand. I got a dog. Like I wouldn't want that to happen to my dog. And ironically in the men's group meeting today, I mean it's really about anonymity, but just the topic of conversation was workplace safety
Mhm.
and what should be reported
Right.
and if you should support or if you should report how you should handle the situations without being like a narc or a rat,
Mhm.
um, and just how to conduct yourself as a professional or just an adult
Yeah.
and doing the right thing. So, of course, before I go into these groups, I'm always like, kind of say a prayer in my mind where I'm like, yo, please help me find some relativity in whatever the topic is today that pertains to my life, and it always does.
Mhm.
Like what's strange about the group meetings is how, and people will bring this up too, how they're like, it's crazy how God speaks through us all because, this guy might pipe in that relates to everybody or especially to this guy over here. Then he pipes in and it just all,
Yeah.
everybody's like, I could totally relate to that. And this is how it pertains to my life and the situation I'm going
Mhm.
through. And it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. Again, like you're talking about other topics for, self-improvement stuff. I'm like, dude, I didn't go to no support groups. I went to the bar.
Yeah.
I went to go hanging with the gang.
Yep.
I used to go just to the smoke circle
For sure.
and fucking complain and watch TV or something.
Mhm.
But going to some sort of a support group or just a group of people that are working on self-improvement.
Yeah.
But one of the best decisions I ever made, and my first time ever walking in there, I was sweating bullets. It's like just nervousness of like, the fuck am I doing here? Why am I here?
Mhm.
But to improve yourself. That's why.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like, I I kinda feel like I'm in that position a little bit just at work. Like, it is good to kinda enjoy what you're doing and make money and stuff, but I just feel like I'm in a weird kinda, like, growth phase just by working at this job,
Mhm.
and just by taking care of business. And even my boss, like I'll come talk to him about just like problems I'm having, and like it's kind of this like mentor mentee relationship,
Mhm.
and he'll just like really try to help me, like the other day when my radiator was broken, and the dealership let me know and they were trying to charge me fucking $1,500.
Mhm.
um I was telling him about it, and he was just like, well, like, go home at lunch and get your paperwork and I'll look it over, and like if I have to make some phone calls, like I know somebody who used to own this dealership, and like we could even call like this church group or whatever, and like they know everybody and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude,
Mm.
like nobody in my life is gonna help me like that, like my parents don't know shit about that. And like anyone else that I tell about that, they'll just be like, yeah, that sucks, like.
Dude, well, and that's the power I've found in not being afraid to just, like, reach out or,
Hmm.
like the old proverb or whatever that's like, "Asking ye shall receive."
Yeah.
And I totally do believe in that, like, if you seek guidance or help from people, help is there.
Yeah.
And in my life, I've been afraid of rejection or being afraid of showing weakness or being inferior.
Hmm.
But the thing is, we're all like young and growing at points, and there's always somebody that's more experienced or more superior.
For sure.
And, I was thinking about, like my cousin I work with, he's my superior.
Mhm,
He's older, bigger, stronger. He has strengths in other areas in life that I don't.
mhm,
And, and I was just thinking the other day, I was like, he is a good leader,
right.
you know, and and that he can guide me in many ways. And part of that ego and superiority complex of mine that I've been working on is like to set my ego and my pride, swallow my pride and be like, you know what? This person does know more than me
Yeah.
and they can help and guide me and just being like, I could use help. Before I'd be like, fuck, I don't want nobody's help. I'm the fucking king.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad
I
you
mean,
reached out to people and asked for help because it sounds like you got things situated.
for
Or
sure, yeah,
did you
and
get things situated?
yeah, like he was telling me all about that stuff, and I'm like, "Okay, cool," and so I think, I called them, I think, and they basically said that my warranty was gonna cover it, and so I'm like, "Okay, good, like, it better," And but just after talking to him about all that, and he was basically just like, "These guys are, they're a den of thieves, like they'll take any chance they can get to rip you off."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you're right." Because when I went in there, man, like I never had bought a car before.
A den of thieves.
For sure, dude, they are, man. Like they'll fucking shake your hand with a smile and charge you an extra fucking $2,000 for just thin air, and
Yeah, because then they
and
can pocket it.
yeah, exactly.
That's
And
how
like
they make their
whatever.
money is
That's their job, but, like, if you don't know what to look out for and all this stuff, and he was just telling me all these different things, and so after work, I was, like, all empowered and shit, and I went in there after work, and I was like, "Where's the salesman? I wanna talk to him," and I'm, like, asking him about my warranty and basically just, like like, there's some sort of miscommunication going on between departments because these guys that are working on my car don't even know that I have a warranty, and they're trying to charge me $1,500. And this car wasn't even inspected when you sold it to me. And I'm like, what if it was the brakes or something? You know, like what if I was going down the highway and the brakes just give out or something?
Mhm.
And I'm like, I know you're charging me out the ass for this car. Like the book price for this car is this, and then you charge me this plus all this other bullshit, you know. And
Right.
the guy was just like just taking it, you know. He knew that I kind of figured out that he ripped me off.
Yeah, for sure, and, you know, I'm glad you're getting it figured out. That's the other struggle I've been going through in my life, and I had this thought the other day where I'm like, "I got this fucking dog attack, having troubles with my truck, I need to get a new truck." And there's all, just problems in life, paying my bills, I have to take some money out of my savings to pay other things now, and I'm trying to save up,
Yeah.
get my credit right. I don't want to spend any of my credit because I want my score to keep going up.
Yep.
And, I had this thought too that was like, man, when I was addicted and just I just needed my drugs and alcohol, that was my only problem. I didn't care about my other problems in life. The
Right.
only problem I needed to solve was my next drink, my next hit.
Mhm.
And so there was that part of my brain that's like, man, I just wish I could go back to that. Like,
Yeah.
because my only problem is just getting loaded,
Mhm.
numbing myself out to reality. And then there's that other part of me that's like, no, like, what are you thinking? Like, I would rather have all these responsibilities and problems to deal with and be taking care of them and be
Yeah.
driving my truck around that's needs work and dealing with my fucked up legs, going to the doctor. Like I'd be so afraid to go to doctors
Right.
in the past. And where I was kind of going with that story ultimately was, how grateful I am to even be getting my mind back and my like confidence and courage and just that
Mhm.
mental state. But like the mental state goes into I need to get a new truck and my confidence and understanding of vehicles and being able to go into a dealership because now I'm like I might go to the Ford dealership or something because I got a Ford truck. I
Mhm.
might go into getting another Ford. I'm not the guy that's like fucking Ford over Chevy or whatever. I don't really I'm not that mechanical.
Right.
But I do have more knowledge now from my experiences being like, well, I need to make sure the radiator and the coolant, I need to ask you about this and that and the oil. Is there
Mhm.
any leaks? Is there any leaks in the gas or fuel problems and the fuel injectors and the fuel pump and the filters and
Yeah.
all these things like the mileage? What kind of stuff has it been in the past? Now
Yep.
I feel more confident to ask them because I have a better understanding of what could be. Is there any problems with the four-wheel drive? You
Mhm.
know, what
Yeah.
kind of warranty am I going to have with you guys?
Yep.
What's it actually worth? What am I going to be paying in interest?
For sure.
What kind of monthly payment can you work with me?
Yeah.
All that shit, and just
Well, also the total price too, like, you I would look up the, like, the MSRP of that vehicle because they're gonna try to charge you more, you know? Like,
mhm,
say the MSRP is 20,000, they're gonna put 22,000 on that, and you go in there and be like, "I'm not paying anything over MSRP," because there's no reason to. If you're a business and you can't sell something at the, uh, manufacturer's suggested retail price, then you shouldn't be in business, you know? So
yeah,
that's one thing you for sure should ask about.
yeah, and see, just talking to you about this stuff and some of the other guys really helps just
Mhm.
gaining knowledge and confidence.
For sure,
And the
man.
other thing that I've been thinking about is like my truck in itself. And I'm like, oh yeah, trade in value. And I'm like, is it even worth it to trade it in?
I don't think so, man. With because with my car, um, that I basically I mean, they basically broke even, you know? Like, they said they were gonna give me, what, 1,500 for my car or something, but they just jack up the price just to break even with that, so they're basically getting a free car.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, even if I wanted to sell, because it just goes towards your bill or something, ultimately.
It goes towards your like down payment.
Oh, towards your down payment, which
Mhm.
I thought about too, where I was like, that would be helpful, you know?
But I mean, if they're willing to finance you, I mean, what they did with me at least, they just ask you what you can make for a down payment. Like if you could put 1,000 down, or I don't know if it's a certain percentage, of the total price.
Mhm.
But unless it's like a newer car that's like worth something, like 10,000 or something, um, I don't know how much trade-in is actually worth it.
Yeah, and I'm not really too concerned with, like, keeping my truck,
Right.
because 'cause
Yeah.
I'm
Neither
like,
was
"Yo,
I.
I've drove this baby into the
Hmm.
ground pretty much," and
Yeah.
it's
If you
gonna be
just want
hard
to,
to, like, part with it because 'cause I'm like, "I love you,"
yeah, I know.
but at the same time, I'm like, I gotta upgrade. I have to."
Hmm.
It
Yeah,
just
man.
you know?
Like knowledge is power, man. Like I said, like after my boss was telling me all these different things, I'm like, wow, I didn't know any of this, and like it does give you that confidence just to stick up for yourself. Like I've always told people that like there's nothing wrong with sticking up for yourself. Like sometimes you do have to confront people and it might be uncomfortable and stuff, but nobody can get mad at you for sticking up for yourself when you know it's right.
My mom was saying some stuff about that today about she was like, "I didn't even realize it, but I was kinda being bullied at work by some of the other ladies."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Man, that's just so weird as adults that, people still bully other
Yeah.
people."
Yep.
And so we were just kinda talking about that, how, like, because I have a tendency to be both passive aggressive, where I have let myself get walked all over
Yeah.
and, let people push me around or whatever.
Mhm.
But I also have that tendency to bottle things up and then explode, or I might not bottle it up. I might just react with anger and
Yeah.
defensiveness right away. And I'm like, I gotta be healthy about this.
Right. I don't think that's what being passive aggressive. Passive aggressive is like when you are being aggressive, but you're delivering it in a way that is supposed to sound passive. When people will send you like a shitty email when it's like, "Hello, good morning. It looks like you forgot to do this, and we're just, we haven't received an email back in 3 weeks," and they're all nice about it, but it's really they're just disguising their aggressiveness.
Oh, I kind of thought it was different, where it's like I was just being passive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course after a while you're going to be like, but that's the thing is like you stick up for yourself, you don't you do it sooner than later, because eventually you will bottle it up and then it will, explode in a way that's not really.
Yeah. And that again was my anxiety stuff I would deal with, where, the therapist, when we would talk about it, where it's like, how do you feel when you're getting anxiety? And it's, oh, yeah, like the building up in your chest
Mhm.
and things where it's like, I need to say something, but I'm so afraid to say it because
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to react. Are they going to be angry at me? Are they going to be understanding?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so I used to have a real problem with just speaking up.
For sure.
And so now if I do get those feelings, I try to just speak up
Yeah.
and be like,
Mhm.
in a calm manner,
For
where it's
sure.
like, yo, I'm just trying to communicate like a healthy way.
Mhm. Yeah, man. I deal with that same exact thing, especially like being the foreman. There's certain things where it's like you have to say shit to people, and I don't like it. Like it's not comfortable. And it'll be the same exact thing. Like I'm walking around just dreading, like, fuck, I gotta fucking tell this person to get back to work. And they're not
Right.
gonna they're not gonna like me for it. But people get over it. Like how many people in your life are you like mad at for a minute? You're like, dude, fuck this guy. He's a fucking dumbass, and then 20 minutes later, you guys are joking around and shit. Like, it's not really that big of a deal for someone
Yeah,
to not
true
like you
that.
for a minute.
Well, and again, that's what we were talking about in group is like when you're going to work, we have a responsibility and a job to do. And if it's a profession, like you're like, yo, this is a profession. I'm getting paid to do this. Like
Yeah.
being professional is an important thing and doing
Mm-hmm.
what's right or what's safe. You know, because I used to be the guy that get like fucked up. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
smoking weed all day.
Right.
And, you know, it just that I would definitely wasn't as aware.
Right.
And I'd be just dumbed down, a little more numb, a little slower, less aware, forgetful.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just so used to it that I was like, dude, I'm good, man. Like
Yeah.
some guys, you know, homie at work was saying, it's like, I can't smoke at work. I can't function. And I was like, the way I used to think that was the only way I could function.
Right.
And yeah, like you've said in the past, where it's like if you are doing something like, oh, you always play guitar, you learn how to play guitar smoking weed all the time. And then when you try to do it not smoking, it's like foreign to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to, whatever you're saying about the neural pathways,
Mm-hmm.
kind of recreating
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. The mind is a crazy thing.
For sure.
Dummy head.
Yep.
Head is a dumb thing too. I'm like, God, this fucking.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm liking the name more and more.
You got to get a
There
dummy head, bro.
Yeah, dude. I want to get one of those like uh little squares or whatever, that you get for the mic too. But yeah.
Wait, what are you
That's
talking about?
like the things you put on the microphone that has like the logo of the
Oh yeah, yeah.
there's a name for it. But yeah, apparently you can get them on like pbsbroadcast.com or some shit.
Dang, that's dope.
But
But yeah, you
yeah,
should
dude.
have a dummy head as just one of your background
Mm-hmm.
things, and
For sure.
one day you should like do what you should do. Would be dope is like if you were able to get like multiple dummy heads, you should just like paint them and do art on them and be like, "Yo, buy the new go to my website. I got a
That's a good
collection
idea.
of dummy heads. You can buy a dummy head."
That's a good idea.
People be like, "Dude, turn them into lamps or something."
Yeah.
Like,
I
talk
mean,
to your brother that sells lamps on eBay
right.
or whatever and be like, "Dude,
For
cheap.
sure.
Turn this dummy head into a dope lamp.
Yep. Yep.
The
Yeah,
eyes
dude.
glow red.
Uh-huh.
It's got devil horns."
For sure. Like those baby bot
Dude, those are
like
dope.
synth fucking pedals or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm stoked about is just like kind of just doing unique shit like that and like having just my own little like little realm, like callbacks and just different language. Like, you listen to different podcasts and they kind of have like inside jokes and shit, and different just reoccurring like segments and stuff. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
stoked.
Well, yeah, dude. Well, let me know. I hit the notification bell on your channel, so I should get notified when your new one
Yeah,
is out.
yeah.
And
I think it'll drop tomorrow.
dope.
Yup.
And I'll probably release this one Monday or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
For sure.
well, hell yeah, brother. I'll let you get going since it's almost 10 o'clock now.
Yeah, it's getting late, man. I usually don't stay up this late.
Yeah, I on my weekends I try to stay up later because I'm like, dude, I gotta get some shit in. And
Mm-hmm.
Friday and Saturday nights are like my night to kind of do more.
Yeah, I'll since I quit smoking weed, I've been staying up later, but this is
Mhm.
about the time I usually be falling asleep. So I have been staying up later, but yeah, dude, this
I
is
gotta be
this is a
putting
good
my
one
kids to bed pretty much.
for real.
I gotta be fucking wash my fucking werewolf bite wounds on my legs and
Yep.
damn, dude.
Dang, this one. Oh wait, about 2 hours.
That's it?
Well, it started at 7:20, so about 2.5 hours.
Oh, well,
Yep,
that's a good one.
for sure.
Well, hell yeah, brother. Well, love you, dog.
Love you too, brother.
Although fucking, you're my dog. You're not a fucking vicious ass man killing dog.
I don't bite, man. I'm very
Yeah,
well
dude.
trained.
Potty trained?
I'm getting there.
Dude, we were talking about the kids in schools though that identify as cats and dogs, weren't we?
Maybe, I don't know.
Dude, that's happening now.
Speaking of potty trained, I seen this shit on the Your Mom's House podcast. This dude, because they're always making fun of Garth Brooks, right? And this dude who apparently works for like this private jet cleaning service fucking had to clean up all this shit on the floor from Garth Brooks' private jet because he fucking shit on the floor.
Garth Brooks did?
Yeah.
Why? He didn't use the toilet in there?
Who knows, dude? He just fucking missed or something.
Oh my god, too drunk. Dude, I went to the porta potty the other night at work, the other day.
Right.
Fucking big ass black widow.
Dang.
Right underneath the urinal, bro.
Fuck that.
I was like, dude, fuck this shit. And it's funny, I seen this TikTok of they're like, this is what $1.95 million would buy you in Toronto for a house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this super skinny house, like as wide as your arms or something, right?
Yeah.
Just going up and down, spinning around. And then they get to the master bedroom and they're showing it. And they probably got their camera all zoomed out wide angle so it looks bigger. And then in the master turns around back to the doorway and there's a toilet.
Really?
Yeah. Right by the master bed, like the queen size
What?
bed or whatever. Toilet and then a shower
In the bedroom?
in the bedroom.
Oh my god.
Dude, fucked.
I mean, I guess it'd be nice sometimes. That's
I
kind of
don't
weird though.
know. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm gonna go hit the bathroom right now. I've been holding it in. No,
Right?
I'm just kidding.
Bladder about to explode.
Yeah, I was wearing my Depends, so I already went.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor, but
Maybe
they
one
should
day.
be one day, yeah.
Here in about 50 years.
Yeah, dude. All right. No, there was an old Saturday Night Live episode that was like making fun of Depends or something, but it was called Oops, I Crap My Pants.
Right.
Thanks, Oops, I Crap My Pants.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
brother. Well, before I crap my pants, I better go.
Word.
All right. Love you,
Sounds
dog.
good.
Stay
Love you too,
cool.
brother.
Looking forward to the next podcast.
Oh, show Dummy Head Podcast. Check it out.
Dummy head.
All right, brother.
All right. Peace.
Peace.